Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today with the Atlanta Braves versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Tied up 1-1. We let through our fingers with Andres Munoz again last night. And again, we still have a chance to be able to win the series. Atlanta has won every series up to this point, 26-11. Matt Olson is playing like an MVP, but we have to find a way to get the job done. On the thumbnail, on the left, second baseman extraordinaire, Ozzie Albies. And on the right, the best center fielder in the game, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Atlanta Braves. Leading off for the Braves at DH, Drake Bullpen. Batting second, playing second base, Ozzie Albies. Batting third, playing first base for the Braves, Matt Olson. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Michael Harris II. Batting fifth, center fielder, Mauricio Dubon. Batting sixth, playing third base, Austin Riley. Batting seventh, playing right field, Mike Yastrzemski. Batting eighth, catching today for Atlanta, Sean Murphy. And making his MLB debut for the Atlanta Braves, shortstop Jim Jarvis. And on the mound for the Braves with a 2-1 record with an ERA of 2.22, Martin Perez. And now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Has home runs in back-to-back games. Can he do it 3 times in a row? We will see. Batting second, DHing for Seattle, big dumper Cal Raleigh. Obviously, they're easing him into the role, and hopefully we'll have him catch in the White Sox series on the road starting Friday. Batting third, center fielder, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. In the last 17, 18 games, going into yesterday's game, he was, as a player, was batting .370. Needs to be able to come up with some big hits or home runs here today, and hopefully J-Rod will keep that batting average going through the roof. Let's go, Julio. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, playing second base, Cole Clutch Young. Batting seventh, playing right field, Connor Joe. Batting eighth, catching today for Seattle, Johnny Pereda. And batting ninth, playing third base, Leo Rivas. And on the mound, one of our aces with a 1-2 record, an ERA of 4.61, has given up 7 runs and 6 runs respectively in his last 2 starts, but I think he'll play better today. It's our guy, Brian. Whoa. And again, if we're going to have any chance to be able to win this game, even though when he did give up 7 in 3 innings, we still came back and won that game 11-9 on the road against the Cardinals. But again, anytime a starting pitcher, regardless if it's Brian Wu or Luis Castillo, if you give up 6 or 7, it's going to make it really tough on the offense to get the dub. It's not impossible, but again, we'll see where it goes. It's our 50th anniversary, 40-plus years on the radio. Rick Riz, again, we want to make sure we can go off on a high note. And again, we love you, as well as Dave Niehaus in baseball heaven. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. We got an opportunity to do something that no team has been able to do, win a series against the Braves. We could have ended up getting that, done yesterday if Andres Munoz could just be more consistent. They may need to be able to shift to another, potential player like Alex Hoppe. I know he's a AAA pitcher, but he's been electric, getting 2 or 3 strikeouts pretty much every opportunity that he's gotten early on. And again, if you have mental issues and you have physical issues with the grip, with the slider, we can't afford to have Andres Munoz be our closer for the rest of the year if this is how he's going to look. His ERA has exploded up to 6. You don't want your closer to have an ERA of 6. And again, we have a lot of close games. It's not like we're blowing teams out, by 5 to 10 runs on the daily like the Dodgers. So again, if we're going to have games that are tied or we're up by 1, and then Mooney comes in and gives up a home run or a big RBI, and then all of a sudden our 1-run lead ends up being tied or we're down by 1, that's a lot of pressure on the hitters to be able to get that last opportunity to tie the game up. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully things will get better. And again, I do like our chances here today, even though Wu has struggled in the last couple starts. Jerry in the building, what's good? All day in the building, what's good? Sean and Logan in the building, what's good? Let's go, baby. Lauren and Austin in the building, what is good? Let me get all settled in here. And again, it's the worst version of Mooney we've ever seen. I mean, we already knew, Castillo has been unreliable for the last couple years, but, no one anticipated Mooney, a top 5, top 10 closer the last few years, to be like bottom 10. And again, it shows you if you're not mentally or physically right, things can go sideways really quick. Obviously you're sitting in the dugout, for a couple hours. There's a lot of expectations. And again, Mason Miller is a 1 of 1. And again, we know that the Athletics traded him to the Padres, and there's going to guys that, that are going to have peaks and valleys and go up and down. But I don't think I've ever seen a guy be so dominant and look so poor from one year to the next. And again, he's a liability. And, if Matt Brash was healthy, I would say put him in the closer role. But again, it all depends on how they want to be able to situate these pitchers. We have no Brash. We have no Gabe Spire for a couple weeks. So we got Edward Bizardo as our best guy in the pen. And then probably Alex Hoppe, number 2, the new guy from AAA. And then again, I would probably be putting Bizardo or Hoppe as the closer and have Mooney pitch in the 8th instead. But knowing Dan Wilson, he'll probably continue to do what he normally does, just throw guys out there and hope they figure it out. Not necessarily the best managing tool. You got to have awareness. All right, we got Brian Wu on the mound. And leading it off is Drake Baldwin. We're 10 subs away from 24,000. Let's see if we can make a dent in that here tonight. First pitch in there to Baldwin for a strike. Good start here for Brian Wu. 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour right out of the gate. I like it. 0-1 pitch, popped up, and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour there by Brian Wu. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Braves and the Mariners. The Mariners will have the day off tomorrow, and then we fly out to the Chicago White Sox starting Friday. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Baldwin. And we know, obviously, some Japanese hitters that have come over to the Blue Jays and the White Sox have been killing it as of late. So, again, the White Sox aren't going to be an easy, type of series as some people might believe. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Drake Baldwin. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. 10 subs away from 24,000, approaching 6 million views, which is fantastic. 2-2 pitch is fouled off there by Baldwin, out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Baldwin. And again, if Wu can pitch like the normal Wu and we can get 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits, we should be able to win the series and win this game, or at least be in contention to be able to win it late. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And that's exactly what I want to see out of Brian Wu, giving up 7 runs against the Cardinals, 6 runs, and his second start, obviously after the meltdown, after giving 7. So he's given up 13 runs in the last 2 starts, but getting a punch out on Baldwin to start it off. I like it. Nice job there by our boy, Brian Wu. Way to bring the electricity, Brian. 1 away. Next up is second baseman extraordinaire, Ozzie Albies. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Four-seam fastball missing by a few inches there. Ozzie Albies in the box and Brian Wu on the mound. Let's go, Wu. We're going to need a good performance today if we have any chance of winning the series. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Wu to Albies. Come on, baby. Should have ended up winning the series yesterday, but that's Mooney for you. 2-0 pitch, high and away. Count now is 3 balls and no strikes to Ozzie Albies, and we don't want to have, too many walks, and, hopefully Wu is locked in. We know he definitely has been rattled in his last 2 starts, but it's not something that he can't overcome. He's much better than Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo. Even though he looked really bad, in the last 2 starts, give me Wu over, Gilbert or Castillo any day of the week. I know he'll be able to recover and get back to the Hancock, Kirby type of way. And then we just need run support and good defense. And hopefully the bullpen doesn't blow it like last night. 3-0 pitch fouled off right down the middle by Albies. 3-1 pitch from Wu. Popped up. I like this. Should be a routine play here for the Mariners. Leo Rivas is there at third. And that is 2 away. Good start here for the Mariners. I like it. Down goes Baldwin. On strikes. Ozzie Albies pops up and pops out to Leo Rivas. I like it. Keep it going, Leo. You're not a very good hitter, but you're a pretty good defender for a backup, even though you're probably a AAA player at best. Next up, the player that has hurt us the most, besides Mauricio Dubon as of late, Matt Olson. He's got home runs in both games. And again, you got to be very careful on how you pitch to Olson. He's been one of the best players in MLB this season. Right there with Murakami and Aaron Judge. Matt Olson with 13 home runs, batting .308 with 33 ribbies, batting 3 for 6 in the series. First pitch, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. I like it. 0-1 pitch to Olson, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Matt Olson. And it wouldn't really bother me if we intentionally walk Olson, once this game, or if we pitch to him inside or outside, because if you do dare go down the middle, chances are he's going to get a single, double, triple, or home run. 1-1 pitch, popped up and behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Matt Olson. You just got to be very strategic on how you pitch to him. If you're going to go down the middle, you better be sure. And again, it's not like we have Cal Raleigh or Mitch Garver behind the plate. We have Johnny Pareda. And again, we know Pareda has a pretty good arm throwing guys out, but again, not as much experience, as far as the other catchers on the team. 1-2 pitch from Wu to Olson. Get him, Wu. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That 4-seam fastball missing. High and away to Olson. 95 miles an hour by Wu. He's got some good velocity here early. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the first inning, 0-0 Mariners and Braves. 2-2 pitch from Wu. Low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Olson. Three-two pitch. Popped up and out of play. The thing is like we all love Mooney, when he's playing well. But again, think about how many games he's blown for us already. We're at 17-20. We probably would be a minimum of 20-17, flip the record, and maybe we would be like 5 games above 500 if Mooney didn't blow all these games. You got to think about, he's only looked good once or twice out of like 10 opportunities. You can't have a closer with an ERA of 6 and think that you're going to win close games. We've had a lot of games where we've been tied and he's given up a big home run, or we've had a 1 or 2 run lead and then he's blown it and given up 1 or 2. So again, I know he's our main guy as a closer, but again, if Brash was healthy, I would swap, and he's injured, so we can't go that route. So if I'm managing this team, I'm going Hoppy if they don't want Bizzardo to be the closer. 3-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. Because again, if you're not mentally right and you're not physically right with the grip, with the slider, he's a liability. And again, think about how many games the Mariners are going to be close with, really good teams and really bad teams and teams in between. It's not like we're going to be up 5 or 10 runs every game like the Dodgers, more than likely. So we have to make sure we have someone that's reliable and trustworthy there. 3-2 pitch, and that is high and away, and that's a walk to Olson. I can live with that. Wu has only had 2 bad starts, and again, Wu is, one of the most electric guys. So again, you have to be watching these games and understanding the role. Again, we don't have the luxury, to bring up Kate Anderson today, or Bryce Miller's not ready yet. So Wu, obviously hasn't gotten a lot of run support either, but to me, he's a hell of a lot better than Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo. And again, I'm watching every game, every pitch beginning to end. You may not have watched every single pitch from beginning to end in every game so far, again, Wu will never get replaced. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. You got to think he was our best pitcher last year and had the injury. If we would have had Wu at the end of the year, maybe we end up making the World Series. Pretty good chance of it. He was very important. And again, Hancock and Kirby have been better, but to me, Wu's still better than Gilbert, who doesn't have any control, and Castillo is trash. 0-2 pitch, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Harris. And there is a difference. Wu doesn't have an ERA of 6. And again, when you're a closer, that's ridiculous. You went from top 5, top 10 in Mooney to bottom 10. He's not like, in the middle. 1-2 pitch popped up there by Michael Harris II. Shallow fly ball to Julio, and that is out number 3. Let's go. Nice job by Julio Rodriguez there in the no-fly zone. Down goes Michael Harris II. We walk Olsen, but again, Wu looking clean, much better than he did in his last 2 starts, and sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's just the other team, is, on point, watching the film. And, again, Wu definitely has looked not like the Wu that we know the last 2 starts. But besides those, he's been pretty good. He just hasn't got run support. You have to remember, just because a guy doesn't have a good record doesn't mean necessarily that's all on him. It's not like the Mariners are averaging, 5, 6, 7 runs a game. Remember, we were the worst team in baseball batting average wise before the Astro series, and we've picked that up. But the pitching and the bullpen and the defense at times has gone a little sideways. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop with home runs in back-to-back games, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, DHing for Seattle, big dumper Cal Raleigh. And batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. On the mound there for Atlanta, 2-1 record, ERA of 2.22, Martin Perez. Trident's up. Let's go M's. We're 10 subs away from 24,000. Let's see how many likes we're at so far here in this early afternoon game. Okay, looks like we're at 21, 79 to get to 100. Yeah, and this statement right here is incorrect. Wu has not done worse than Mooney. Mooney has lost us more games than Wu has. There's no question about it. I mean, maybe to you in some of the games that you've watched, but that is not true. Again, Castillo has been the worst pitcher by far. Gilbert is right behind him. And, again, you can't judge, Wu just based on 2 starts where he gave up 13 runs, And one of those games we came back and won, so. 0-1 pitch, a little slow dribbler there by JP. Flip from Albies to Olsen, and that is 1 away. Next up for Martin Perez, it's the big dumper DHing today, Cal Raleigh. Obviously, they're easing him into the role with that right side soreness. So hopefully we'll be able to see Cal behind the plate in that White Sox series. We're definitely going to need him. First pitch, Cal, hard hit ball, but it is going to be in shallow left field. Harris is there, and that is 2 away. Hopefully we'll get a few single swings and double swings out of Cal instead of just going for the moon. He hasn't been able to get the rhythm just yet, going 0 for 4 yesterday, and hopefully he doesn't go 0 for 4 here today. Next up in the 3-hole, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. First pitch in there for a strike to Julio Rodriguez from Martin Perez. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away from Martin Perez. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, Cal started a little bit slow last year, but he didn't get hurt, so that's kind of the difference. Again, he's not going to get anywhere near 60 home runs realistically. He'll probably finish with somewhere between 28 and 35 home runs. But again, injuries have hit us a lot harder this year compared to last year. 1-2 pitch. Inside in there for strike 3, and down goes Julio Rodriguez. I mean, we had Kirby out for the first 2 to 3 months. Gilbert had a couple starts and then was out for a month and a half. Robles ended up hitting the netting and the wall, and Ryan Bliss was out early, but it wasn't really a lot of our main guys. And on top of that, this year, it's like not only do we have, injuries to Brandon Donovan and then Cal Raleigh, Matt Brash, Gabe Spire, Victor Robles, and then we also have players that aren't playing well. Castillo and Gilbert and Mooney and obviously Wu in the last 2 starts, but overall I think it's been more of lack of run support, and I think Wu has actually been pretty good besides the last 2 starts, but again, you don't like seeing anybody give up 5 runs or more, but typically when you think of a guy giving up 5 runs in the starting rotation, it's usually Gilbert lately or a guy like Luis Castillo, who probably doesn't really deserve to be on this team. And I can't wait for the moment where we get Cade Anderson called up, and he'll end up being the new Brian Wu when we first brought him up in the 5 hole. And he's been able to work his way, up higher in the rotation. And again, we have Bryce Miller, coming back pretty soon as well, but we really don't know what Bryce is going to look like. And if they're smart, they would put Castillo from starter into the pen. And again, that's where I would probably leave him for the rest of the year, especially when we have other guys like Miller and Cade Anderson, Ryan Sloan kind of getting better and better. But again, it's all about, waiting, in time, for the right moment for the Mariners. End of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Braves and the Mariners. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the second inning. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Braves, former Astro center fielder Mauricio Dubon, who was one of the big reasons we lost yesterday besides the Matt Olson home run on Mooney late. Batting second in the 6th hole, had a home run in game number 1, third baseman Austin Riley. And batting third in the 7th hole, right fielder Mike Yastrzemski. And on the mound for the Mariners, one of our aces, Brian Wu. Let's go Wu. And it also shows, certain pitchers are human, not everyone is going to be lights out, especially when you play so many teams, and you're going to play different at home and on the road, morning, afternoon, and night, there's a lot of factors involved. So 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there from Mauricio Dubon, the former Astro. Sinker, 94 miles an hour, right down the middle. Big swing and a miss. And then he changes it up with a 4-seam, high and inside, and Dubon bites. No balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Dubon. Jordan in the building. What's good, brother? 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And Wu, it looks like he is back. I like it. And that is 1 away. What's good, Jordan? I know Ellie De La Cruz had that error, and then you ended up losing one of those games recently. Sal Stewart doing his thing, and I hope you guys have some great success this year. Down goes Dubon, and that is 1 away. Next up is Austin Riley. Check swing from Riley, goes towards first base and foul. 95 miles an hour here by Brian Wu. And like I said, looks much better than he did in the last 2 starts that we saw, obviously, with the Cardinals and I believe the Royals. Oh, 1 pitch. Hard hit ball towards third base and Leo Rivas, and foul. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the second inning, 0-0 here early between the Braves and the Mariners. Great to see you, Jordan. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 0-2 pitch, and that is strike 3. Let's go. I mean, if you actually look, Lauren, at Castillo's numbers, like analytics and metrics, like a lot of baseball nerds like myself look at, when we first got him from the Reds in 2022, when we had a 20-year drought in the playoffs, he was one of the reasons with, Julio and Cal that we ended up, and Kirby, that we ended up making the playoffs for the very first time. But if you actually look at his numbers, every single year since the year that we got him, they've been going on a kind of a downward trajectory. And, Castillo is not trustworthy. Every once in a while he'll have a good game, but there's a reason that he's not the number one in the rotation anymore. He's number 5. And honestly, he's a liability. He hurts us. He's a really bad 5, and honestly, I think Cade Anderson, even though he's in the farm system, if we put Cade Anderson in the lineup and replaced Castillo, I honestly think that he would be better today, even though he's a raw player coming off a natty from LSU. He's going to be one of the better pitchers, I believe, in the rotation. It's just a matter of time. And again, sometimes you just got to, kind of wait your turn, for certain guys to get called up. And, realistically, Castillo and JP won't be on the team next year. And that'll be replaced by, Cade Anderson and Colt Emerson. And we'll be much better, I believe, next year moving forward and beyond. 2-1 pitch. And there for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Yastrzemski. And sometimes you got to be able to, if you're only looking at that win-loss record and ERA, that doesn't really tell the whole story. It's like Jose Ferrer, right? His numbers look good on paper, but us fans watching games, he actually has, blown a lot of games for us, in this early part of the season. Yeah, he's been good as of late, but again, sometimes numbers lie. It may look like, oh, this guy's really good, ERA and, strikeouts and whatnot, but, how many runs are you giving up and how many games are you blowing, when the game is tied and then all of a sudden you give up a run and then we're down. So, and we know, pitchers and bullpen pitchers are human, but, it's all about consistency, right? That's what we gauge and grade these guys. How consistent are you game in and game out? Pitch fouled off there by Yastrzemski, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Wu, and Yastrzemski calls time. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the second inning, 0-0 here early between the Braves and the Mariners. And again, Castillo at, once in a while, he might end up having a game where he gets 8 to 10 Ks and you're like, wow, this is great. But then you have to go back and look at all the other games where he's given up 5 to 10 runs and we've gotten absolutely slaughtered when he's on the mound. So, and again, he's not the youngest pitcher anymore either. And sometimes Father Time is undefeated, as we know in sports. 3-2 pitch. And Yastrzemski pops up. Should be a routine play here for J.P. Crawford. And that is out number 3. And Wu, looks like the Wu that we all know and love. And now the ump is speaking to Wu here with Johnny Pareda. And they're kind of going over, maybe some of the strike zone areas. But again, the Wu that we've seen in the last 2 starts, he was terrible, right? It was very uncharacteristic. It almost felt like we were watching Gilbert or Castillo. And normally Gilbert is a good pitcher, but this year he just isn't, and again, it sucks that Gilbert kind of got swapped with Hancock. Because remember, Hancock was fucking terrible for us for a couple years. He was kind of the 6th man that would come in and fill in when a guy got hurt, but he was giving up 5 to 10 runs almost every game, like a Castillo or Gilbert now. But then Hancock, really turned it on, and he hasn't really gotten a lot of run support either. But Kirby and Hancock are our 2 best as of now. Wu is number 3, and if Wu can bounce back, from having 2 bad starts, he'll be right there with Hancock and Kirby. And again, it'll be nice to at least have 3 guys out of 5 that we can trust. And I hope Gilbert will be trustworthy as the season goes on, but I'm optimistic. And I honestly don't think Castillo will be trustworthy at all. At some point, he will be replaced, by someone else. Bryce Miller, Cade Anderson, someone's going to take his spot because he can't afford to have, a bad starter in the lineup on top of a bad closer, because those 2 guys are really losing a lot of games for us. But again, we have to be optimistic and positive and hope certain guys turn it around. But I think for a lot of us, you kind of know, who's got it and who doesn't. Now let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. And let's see if we can end up taking the lead. Next up for the Mariners in the 4-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. But I will tell you this, once Brendan Donovan comes back in the lineup and he's our regular leadoff guy, things are going to be a hell of a lot better than they've been without him. He'll definitely, get us more hits, better defense at third. Rivas is a AAA player at best. And again, his defense has been pretty good, but he can't hit at all. So it's almost like a wasted at bat unless he gets hit, walked, or if he ends up bunting and moving a guy over. And every once in a while, Leo will have a good game, but again, having a one good game out of every 10 games you play, that's not ideal. 1-0 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin Perez to Josh Naylor. 1-1 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Let's go, Nails. Pitch popped up and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. And Castillo's ERA is 6.33, just like Mooney with an ERA of 6 as a closer. That's absolutely horrendous. 2-2 pitch. And that is strike 3. Big one there for Martin Perez on Josh Naylor. Hopefully that doesn't happen often. Nice punch out there from Martin Perez, coming in with a 2-1 record, ERA of 2.22. Down goes Josh, and again, I'm glad that he didn't get hurt after sliding into second yesterday. He's a tough SOB, and hopefully he'll be able to help us win here later today. Next up in the 5-hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena. First pitch from Martin Perez, high and away, 1-0 count. Perez on the mound, Arozarena in the box. Come on, Randy. Again, if you have an ERA in the 3s, that's kind of average. Under 3, when you're at like 1 or 2, that's phenomenal. But then when you get above 3 and you're at 4 and above, that's bad, because again, it's not like we're scoring a lot of runs every game. 1-1 pitch, throw to first, down goes Randy, and that is 2 away. Now, if the Mariners, were scoring and averaging 5, 6, 7 runs a game, then yeah, we could afford to have Mooney in there and Castillo in there with an ERA of 6. It's not ideal, but if the bats are that hot, you can kind of even things out. But when you're only scoring, maybe 1 to 3 runs on average per game, and then every maybe 4th or 5th game you get 5 to 10, chances are when that guy pitches or when that guy gets in, you more than likely you have a higher probability to lose. Little line drive to Matt Olson, and Young safe. Let's go. Olson diving head first. And again, we saw Vinny Pasquantino on the Royals just eat up everything at first base. Olson is the same. When you have an elite first baseman that gobbles up everything on defense, look at that play by Olson, the glove work, and then diving. But look at Cole Young. He's clutch with the speed. This is very close. And let's take a look at the replay here. And it does look like Cole does get there in time. Nice job there by Cole Clutch Young. I love the effort, though, by Matt Olson. I mean, he definitely has hurt us with home runs in Game 1 and Game 2. The game winner last night as well. But I appreciate hustle and great play, and he's been playing like one of the best players in the game. We know Murakami there on the White Sox has been balling. Obviously, we know Aaron Judge is balling, and Matt Olson. I mean, if you look at the home run numbers, if you got 13 home runs at this point and you're in the top in the MLB, you're definitely doing something right. But I love two-way players, and I can appreciate effort there. First pitch in there to Connor Joe is a ball, and the Braves are challenging, and that gets overturned to a strike. Good challenge there by Atlanta. Xavier in the building. What's good? Oh, 1 pitch. In there for a strike. Nice cutter there by Martin Perez. No balls and 2 strikes to Connor Joe. Yeah, I mean, and again, no one expected us to be the worst hitting team in baseball prior to the Astros series. But again, the WBC did a lot of damage to a lot of teams. We had half of our roster in that tournament, and we didn't have enough chemistry. Little blooper into right field by Connor Joe, and is caught, and that is out number 3. But, again, baseball is one of those things, it's kind of like split into two categories, starting pitching and then bullpen. And once the starter goes out, the game kind of resets. And then also the first half of the season. And then when we get the warmer weather and then we get into after the All-Star game and, after that second half, that's usually where the Mariners shine. And that's not just recently, that's usually all time. Like if you go back and look at the numbers, Mariners usually don't start off very, very hot. And I was actually looking on some of the MLB websites as well as some of the gambling websites to kind of see where do they have the Mariners projected. And believe it or not, they have the Mariners projected as one of the top 4 teams, right behind the Yankees as number 2 in the American League to make the World Series. So even though things have gone shitty for us, they recognize the talent that we have, and we've had injuries and things haven't gone our way, but they have the Yankees as the best American League team. But number 2 in the American League, they have the Mariners. So they have us as one of the top 4 teams. And then obviously they got the Dodgers and the Braves as the other 2 at this point early in the year. But we're the only team, in the top 4 that has a below 500 record, and they still believe that we can get there. So that shows a lot, based on our talent, our roster, our farm system. A lot of things have not gone our way, but there still is a belief that we are the biggest threat to the Yankees. And I think I agree. We just have to be able to get things going. So, even though it doesn't look good, with a under 500 record, a lot of teams in the American League are sucking ass right now. They're not doing well. Only a few teams above 500. So let's go to the top of the 3rd inning and see who's up next here for the Atlanta Braves. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Braves, in the 8-hole, catching today, Sean Murphy. Batting second, making his MLB debut in the 9-hole, shortstop Jim Jarvis. And batting third, DHing today, leadoff hitter Drake Baldwin. And on the mound, looking fantastic here early, Brian Wu. Let's go. And comparing Wu to Mooney is ridiculous. You can't compare, Munoz to a starting pitcher that normally is our number 1, just had 2 bad games. So Mooney has been bad many games already. Feels like he's only really closed out a game or 2 and been bad for 8, 9, or 10. Little chopper towards third. Nice throw to Rivas. Josh Naylor, toe tap on the bag, and that is 1 away. And we have to be very thankful, that more times than not, that JP, Cole Young at shortstop, second base, as well as Naylor at first. When you don't have a good first baseman, defensively, it costs you a lot of games. And the same thing goes for third base. Think about how many balls go, right to first and third. And I'm really happy that we have Josh Naylor, a big upgrade over Ty France, even though he was a fan favorite. First pitch to Jarvis, high and away, making his MLB debut from AAA Gwinnett, batting .305. First pitch high and away to Jarvis, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away, 2 balls and no strikes from Wu to Jarvis. Yeah, Rivas has got a better laser than Crawford, and it's more accurate, even though he's a AAA player. I don't know what's going on with JP defensively. Normally he's, automatic, but, has made a few mistakes. And once the Mariner fan base gets a chance to see Colt Emerson play with Cole Young, right, side by side, it's going to be insane. And then when we get Donovan at third and then Naylor at first, honestly, we're going to have one of the best infields in baseball. Not only, I think, offensively, but defensively. It's just a matter of time. 2-1 pitch. Low and at the knees. 3 balls and 1 strike from Wu to Jarvis. Dave in the building. What's good? Three-one pitch. And a little chopper up the middle. JP is there. Fuck, man. His throws are just so fucking ridiculously high. If we didn't have, Josh Naylor there, think about how many additional errors we would have from JP. I love the home runs, that he's getting, but he makes me nervous when he throws very, very high. I know Naylor's got long arms and long legs, but, have a little bit more accuracy with your throws instead of making it hard for Naylor every time you get a ball from JP. And again, there's another reason why Colt Emerson will be better there. He's more accurate, better hitter, better defender, and definitely is going to give us that pop that we need in the lineup in the future. First pitch to Drake Baldwin, 0 for 1 with a K in his first at-bat. Fouls it back to the T-Mobile Bricks, four-seam fastball. 95 miles an hour there for Brian Wu, 0-1 count. Yeah, and normally the pitching is the strength, But again, it's going to go in waves where it might be pitching and then bullpen and then defense, hitting. But to get all 4 categories, locked and loaded, every game is going to be rare. But there will be games that we will put it together and all 4 will be great. Starting pitching, bullpen, defense, and hitting. 0-1 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, missing to Baldwin. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball, shallow right field. Connor Joe is there, and that is out number 3. Man, Woo is looking good today. And again, much better than, giving up the 7 and 6 runs. He is locked in, and I love Brian Woo. There we go. Woo with a no-hitter. Shame on you saying that we should replace Woo for someone else. Woo and Mooney are not in the same stratosphere all day. And I think, again, if he can end up, I'm not saying he's going to throw a no-hitter today, but again, if he keeps pitching like this for a few more innings, eventually the Mariners will get a meltdown by someone and we'll have a chance to win the game. But, again, you can't judge everything, based on not getting run support early in the year and him having 2 bad starts. There is no question, Woo is an incredible pitcher. And honestly, when he's on, he's probably our best pitcher. Kirby's got, a really good record, and Hancock's got the 14 Ks and hasn't really got the run support either. But when Woo is on, he has more electric stuff. Kirby is more location. Hancock is one of those guys that, was bad for many years and then now finally has lived up to his first-round pick status from Georgia. But again, it's not like Hancock has been great and then now all of a sudden, this is his opportunity to come in for Bryce Miller. No one expected Hancock to be good, and no one expected Logan Gilbert to be bad, so they kind of swapped and whatnot. But they probably should have had Brian Woo start off the season, instead of Logan Gilbert. But it is what it is. Let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. So obviously Murphy and Jarvis couldn't get the job done on their end. Now let's see on the flip side with one of our newer guys in the lineup in the 8-hole, catcher Johnny Pareda. Batting second in the 9-hole, third baseman Leo Rivas. And batting third, 0-for-1 shortstop J.P. Crawford. It wouldn't be crazy to have a bunt drop down with some small ball at some point sooner than later. Hawks in the building. What's good? It's Brian Woo on the mound. First pitch in there to Johnny Pareda. Cutter right down the middle, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and at the knees with that sinker to Pareda. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin Perez to Johnny Pareda. Bottom of the 3rd, 0-0 here early. Woo with a no-hitter so far. Much better than giving up 7 runs and 6 runs in his last 2 starts. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Johnny Pareda. Martin Perez on the mound. Johnny Pareda in the box. 1-2 pitch. Another ball, low and away. Change up 81 miles an hour by Martin Perez. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. There we go. I like that as it rolls into left field to Michael Harris, the second. Nice job there by Johnny Pareda. 3rd string catcher for the Seattle Mariners. Nice job. Way to bring that electricity and get a hit. Nice job, Johnny. Trident's up. Next up is Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. Leo shows bunt and pulls back, but ends up taking a strike, I believe. No, ended up being a ball. 1-0 count. Was right on the line. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Martin Perez to Leo Rivas. Two-0 pitch, hard hit ball. Leo Rivas down the third baseline. Go, go, go. And Leo is going to go for 2. And there we go. A double by Leo, a single by Johnny Pareda. And now we have runners at second and third with no outs. Let's go. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And again, we haven't really gotten any solid production from the 7, 8, 9 the last few games, so that is big. Nice job. Now, Cal is not behind the plate. He's DHing again, Hawks. So they're going to ease him in slowly. Hopefully he'll be behind the plate in the White Sox series, and we'll see where it goes. Oh, 1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And he did not. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin Perez to J.P. Crawford. JP just gets a little piece of that, a little tip on that changeup. Fouled off right in front of the catcher. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at second and third and no outs. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Great opportunity for the Mariners here to score 1 to 3 runs. And hopefully at the bare minimum we get 1, but again, hopefully we can get 2 or more, especially with no outs. One-two pitch. Low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh on deck. DHing again here today for Seattle. 2-2 pitch from Martin Perez. Low and at the knees. He's starting to have a mini meltdown, and I like it. Giving up a single and then a double, and now on the brink of walking JP. And JP is, pretty patient in the box. Maybe has had a few, hiccups at defense, the last few weeks, but, has had home runs in back-to-back games. 3-2 pitch to Crawford. There we go. High and away. Bases loaded with no outs, baby. I love it. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Good patience there by J.P. Crawford. And now we got the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, with 1 swing. It could be 4-0 Mariners. But again, he hasn't really got his timing down. That injury to his right side soreness. Honestly, a home run would be, best case scenario. But I would just love for him to get a RBI single, to drive in a run or 2. Let's see if he goes for a single swing rather than a home run swing. First pitch popped up behind the plate and out of play. 0-1 count. Come on, Cal. And again, this could be the difference between Cal, hitting into, a pop-up, a double play, or, striking out. Let's see if Cal will make the adjustment. Sometimes you got to, change your strategy depending on who's on base. 0-1 pitch to Cal. Check swing. Did he go? And he did not. 1 ball and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. One pitch, low and away. Good patience there by the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. 2 balls and 1 strike from Martin Perez to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Two-one pitch from Perez. Hard hit ball. Oh, double play. Throw to first. Got him, but we at least get a run to come home. And unfortunately, Cal Raleigh hits into the double play. But again, at least we end up getting 1 run coming home. 1-0 Seattle. There we go. Not ideal, but again, we'll take anything that we can get at that point. Johnny Pareda coming home. And now we have a runner at third with 2 outs, and it would be fantastic if we could get 1 more RBI single here from Julio Rodriguez, or, a big 2-run blast to get us a 3-0 lead. Let's go, Julio. Hard hit ball towards third base and foul. Oh, absolutely. I've been a fan. I might look young, but I'm 44, so I've been watching the Mariners since, I was about 3. So I've been watching since the mid-'80s. So, and usually I watch, games from beginning to end and whatnot. So I'm very familiar with Freddie Garcia, one of my favorite players that didn't get really enough recognition, like him and Kyle Seager and, obviously Nelson Cruz. We had, quite a few players, especially Felix Hernandez, that were in that 20-year drought where we didn't make the playoffs, which was very unfortunate. But Raul Ibanez, we had some pretty damn good players. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Richie Sexton. I mean, I can go all day, with a lot of the guys that we've had in the past. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Martin Perez to Julio Rodriguez. Bottom of the 3rd inning, runner at 3rd with 2 outs. Mariners taking the lead 1-0, but we're still hungry for more. 1-2 pitch. Julio pops that one foul towards 3rd base off the catcher. Hopefully he's okay. 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour there by Martin Perez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at 3rd and 2 outs. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Seattle. One-two pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And going into yesterday's game, within the last 17 games, was batting .370, which is amazing. Started off terrible in the first 10 games with Cal and Naylor, but has really picked it up and looking like it'll be his best first half of the season in his career. I mean, it might have taken him 5 years to figure out patience in the box, but typically they say if you play 15 to 20 years, you get into your prime somewhere in year 5 through 10. If you play 15 to 20 years typically. So, it took him a little bit longer to figure out the patience in the box. He's always been a great, defender out there in center field in a no-fly zone. And let's see if Julio can come up with a big single, double, or home run here. 2-2 pitch to Julio. And a little dribbler up the middle. Should be a routine play. Throw to first. And that is out number 3. Rivas stranded at 3rd, but at least at the very least, we ended up getting 1 run. But again, kind of a damn shame when you have bases loaded and no outs and you only get 1. But remember, this is the Mariners. We've had opportunities where we've had bases loaded, no outs, and we've gotten nothing. So again, beggars can't be choosers. You got to crawl before you walk. We should have won the series already yesterday. Now we just have to be able to do our best against this top-tier Atlanta Brave team. End of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Mariners. Great job. Could have been a little bit more, but again, I know we'll get more later. Let's go to the top of the 4th inning and see who's up next here for the Atlanta Braves. Next up for the Braves in the 2-hole, second baseman or extraordinaire, 0 for 1, Ozzie Albies. Batting second, 0 for 0 with a walk. The best player on the team, not named Ronald Acuna Jr. First baseman, Matt Olson. Home runs in back-to-back games. Got to be very careful on how you pitch to Olson. And batting third, 0 for 1, left fielder, Michael Harris II. And on the mound for the Mariners, Bryan Woo. Let's look at the stat line so far for both. So Bryan Woo, 3 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs. 1 walk, 3 Ks, 45 pitches, 29 strikes. ERA is dropped down to 4.30, which is awesome. After giving up 7 runs against the Cardinals, came back and won that game 11-9 and gave up 6 against the Royals, and we lost that one with Woo on the mound a few days ago. And then let's look at Martin Perez, 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks, 44 pitches, 28 strikes with a 2.30 ERA, and he came into the game with a 2-1 record and ERA of 2.22. So we already knew it was going to be tough. We're not very good against lefties, but thankfully we ended up getting something going here early. Woo has got a no-hitter. So again, a lot better than giving up 13 runs combined in his last 2 starts. Let's keep it going, Bryan Woo. All right, we're 9 subs away from 24,000. Let's go, baby. First pitch to Ozzie Albies. Takes a strike looking high and away. 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, popped up. And out of play. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour there from Woo. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariners. Let's go. O2 pitch, fouled out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Ozzie Albies. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. I mean, a lot of the throws that JP has made to Naylor have been terrible looking, But again, as long as Naylor can end up coming down with the play, I mean, it's making his job harder at first, but, you know. 0-2 pitch. Low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Albies. But, you know, again, once we start getting better players filled in, you know, Cade Anderson instead of Luis Castillo, Colt Emerson instead of J.P. Crawford, Brandon Donovan instead of Leo Rivas, it really is going to give us a huge lift on the team, you know, to have better players playing, you know, on a consistent basis. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Albies. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Seattle. And I'm very proud of Brian Wu not having a meltdown in 3 straight starts. You know, we can't afford that, especially when we can't trust Gilbert and Castillo right now on top of Andres Munoz. And have no Brash and no Spire available. So it's really Bizardo and Alex Hoppe, and that's all we got, really. And then I guess Jose Ferrer when he's good. But we know it's very hit or miss. 2-2 pitch, high and away. 3-2 pitch here from Wu. Foul back behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks and the KeyBank sign there at T-Mobile. Count still is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Albies. Three-two pitch to Albies. High and away, and a rare walk there for Brian Wu. Next up for Brian Wu, dangerous hitter, Matt Olson. Got to be very, very careful. Hopefully we can get him to pop up or ground out here. First pitch, fouled behind the plate, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch to Olson, low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike to Matt Olson. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Seattle. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Olson. I love it. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Olson. Olson had a walk in his first at-bat, and he has been absolutely phenomenal this season with Aaron Judge and Murakami, obviously, there on the White Sox coming over from Japan this year. 1-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base and foul by Olson. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and no outs. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Seattle. Would be fantastic to get a strikeout and a double play or a double play and a strikeout. Olson is definitely a tough, hitter to be able to get out, and we'll take any way possible, especially with the damage he's done to us with the game winner last night. Home runs in back-to-back games for Atlanta. And runner is safe at first. Ozzie Albies. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Seattle. 1-2 pitch. High and away, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Wu. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Olson. Two-two pitch from Wu. And that gets fouled off the umpire there behind the plate. Hopefully he's okay. Johnny Pareda immediately turning around and looking to see if he's all right. And things can definitely hurt when you end up getting a deflection, off the mask or on the body, whether you're a catcher or that, ump behind the plate. Taking a little bit of extra time just to make sure he's okay. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariners. Runner at first, Ozzie Albies with no outs. Brian Wu with a no-hitter so far. Much better than giving up 7 runs to the Cardinals and 6 to the Royals in his last 2 starts. And previous to that, just didn't really get a whole lot of run support, but was pretty good. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. A big strikeout on Matt Olson. That a boy. Nice job there by Brian. Woo! Nice job there for Brian Wu, wheeling and dealing, and I knew he could come back. Down goes Olson. Next up is Michael Harris II. First pitch to Harris, fouls it off into left field, out of play, 0-1 count. Harris in the box. Brian Wu on the mound with a no-hitter here in the fourth inning. Awesome. You couldn't have scripted a better, better start after having two meltdowns against the Cardinals and the Royals. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Harris II. High and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Harris. And this is the Wu that we all know and love, and so it was so uncharacteristic to see him have meltdowns of 7 and 6. So, and I'm not saying he's going to pitch a no-hitter for the whole game, but this is exactly what we expect out of Brian Wu more times than not. 0-2 pitch, high and inside. Harris has to take a step back. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Harris. One-two pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Harris. And again, when we can't really trust Logan Gilbert right now, or Luis Castillo, or Andres Munoz, we need to have at least 3 guys, starting wise with Kirby, Hancock and Wu, that more times than not that we can trust. And I hope that we can trust Gilbert later in the year, but I'm really having doubts. 2-2 pitch. And that is out of play. Honestly, because if Castillo ends up getting pulled to the pen once we bring up Miller or Cade Anderson, Gilbert could end up being the 5. And remember, they had him, be the, opening day guy, but again, based on if Castillo ends up going to the pen, Gilbert will be the worst pitcher. I guess that's a good thing to have, based off talent, but big swing and a miss. Down goes Harris. But again, we don't really know what Bryce Miller is going to look like when he comes back. I assume he'll be bad for the first month when he comes back, but you never know. Down goes Harris with a big swing and a miss. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 5-hole, Mauricio Dubon, hard hit ball. And a little dribbler into right field to Connor Joe. Mauricio Dubon has been a thorn in our side. The former Astro came up really big yesterday with that big 2-run RBI when we had the 2-run jack by JP, and then Olson ended up finishing it off on Mooney late in the game. But Dubon has been very good in this series against the Mariners. Next up in the 6-hole, third baseman Austin Riley. Runners now at first and third with 2 outs, and we have to make sure we keep that runner stranded. Albies at third. Need a pop-up, a ground out, or a strikeout. Come on, Wu. First hit on Brian Wu here in the 4th. Little dribbler towards third. Get it, Leo. Get it, Leo. There we go. And a trustworthy throw to Naylor, not like JP, and that is out number 3. We leave 2 stranded for the Atlanta Braves. Great job by Brian Wu again through 4 innings. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's time to extend the lead. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, 0 for 1, left fielder in the 5-hole, Randy Arozarena. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman, 1 for 1, Cole Clutch Young. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Gained another sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. Only 8 subs to go to 24,000. Got 170 in the room. If we can get 8 people, we'll be at 24,000. Let's go. Approaching 6 million views on the channel as well, which we've mentioned in the last few broadcasts. And let's see where we're at on the likes. about halfway through the matchup. All right, we're at 60, 40 more to go to get to 100. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. So Miller had a left oblique strain, and that was obviously in March. So there's a reason why he hasn't been around, and had some inflammation there as well. But again, having starters injured, we had Kirby out for 2-3 months last year at the beginning of the year. Gilbert pitched for a little bit, then got hurt for a month and a half. And remember, last year we had to rely on Emerson Hancock, and he wasn't very good last year, and Logan Evans. And too bad Logan Evans ended up having a season-ending injury, there in spring training, because that would have been another option that we could have had in the bullpen, or a guy that could come and fill in. But we're not going to have him until, obviously next year, and we'll see where that goes. First pitch from Martin Perez to Josh Naylor, high and inside, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, fouled off, and it dribbles in front of the plate and near the catcher there. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Martin Perez on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. Let's go, Josh. Give me that leg kick. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Change up right down the middle, fooling Naylor. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Pitch, little slow dribbler towards first. Is it fair? And a flip to the pitcher, and that is 1 away. But we've definitely had a hard time getting anything past first baseman in the last 2 series. Pasquantino at first, and now Matt Olson. And again, unless you end up getting it over, Pasquantino or Olson's head, that might be the only way. They do a good job there at first base defensively. All right, next up is Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. One of the more consistent hitters for the Mariners, believe it or not, since the beginning of the year. First pitch, high and inside, 1-0 count. But in this series, he has struggled, only 1 for 8. So even though he has been one of the more consistent guys on the team up to this series, 1 for 8, not ideal. 1-0 pitch, in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin Perez to Randy Arozarena. One pitch, hard hit ball towards third, throw to first. Should be a routine play to Olson, and that is 2 away. And Randy's struggles continue in the box in this particular series. Hopefully he'll get at least a hit before the series is up here. Here, obviously, he's got 1, but hopefully he'll be able to get at least another here today. And let's see who's up next here in the 6th hole. Second baseman, Cole Clutch Young. Let's go, Cole. Bring that electricity, baby. He's had back-to-back games with not a whole lot of production, and hopefully he'll be able to open up the game here for the Mariners. First pitch in there for a strike to Cole Young, 0-1 count. But again, we have been going against a lot of left-handed pitching lately too, so we don't really do too well with left-handed pitching so far in 2026. 0-1 pitch, popped up, and foul territory. Oh, and thankfully that bounces into the netting. Austin Riley can't get to it. And Young is kind of like Randy. He only has 1 hit in the series as well, and hopefully Young will be able to find a way. And we get real lucky with that Cole Young pop-up hitting the netting. And Riley just missing it. No balls and 2 strikes to Cole Clutch Young. 0-2 pitch from Martin Perez. High and away. Good patience there by Cole. Sinker 90 miles an hour by Martin Perez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Seattle. And again, we had the Raleigh grounding out into the double play, but Ribas scored from third to give us the 1-0 lead, even though we had bases loaded with no outs. You want to get more, but, at least we have the lead. We can't complain about that. And on top of having the lead, Woo's pitching great. So, again, we don't have to worry about being down 6-7 runs like we did in his last 2 starts. So we have to be very thankful. I mean, this is one of the best teams in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. So it's never easy to beat them. They haven't lost a series all year, so that shows how consistent they have been. 1-2 pitch, and just gets a foul tip there right in front of the catcher. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cole Young. One-two pitch from Martin Perez. Big swing and a miss. And that is the end of the 4th inning. Another punch out there for Martin Perez. No runs, 1 hit, and no errors for the Braves. 1 hit, 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for the Mariners. So obviously not a whole lot going on offensively, but at least we have the 1-0 lead. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 5th inning for the Atlanta Braves. Next up for the Braves in the 7-hole, fielder 0 for 1, Mike Yastrzemski. Great bloodline. Batting second, 0 for 1, catcher in the 8-hole, Sean Murphy. And batting third, making his MLB debut today in the 9-hole, 0 for 1, shortstop Jim Jarvis. And on the mound for the Mariners, Brian Wu. So let's look at the stats for both Wu as well as Martin Perez. So started off with Martin Perez since he just pitched. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 57 pitches, 38 strikes with a 2.23 ERA. And with Wu, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 68 pitches, 44 strikes, and his ERA is 4.20. Coming into the game, it was 4.61. So going in the right direction, obviously bringing that ERA down from 4, and then hopefully after another few more starts, he'll be in the 3s, where he definitely belongs. And he's one of those guys that if he can get his ERA into the 2s, that's what we kind of expect. He's that good. End of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 8 subs away from 24,000. All right, we're at 74 likes, 26 more to get to 100. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. First pitch for Brian Wu to Mike Yastrzemski. Takes a strike looking on the line. Slider, 85 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Wu on the mound. Mike Yastrzemski in the box. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mike Yastrzemski. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Seattle. 1-1 pitch, fouled off into left field, out of play. 4-seam fastball there by Wu. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Seattle. And that 4-seam fastball, more times than not, is sitting right around 95 miles an hour pretty consistently here for Wu. Munetaka Murakami, 14 homers with Aaron Judge. Tied for the MLB lead, and then we got Matt Olson with 13. So starter ERA is 6th for the White Sox. They're definitely having a turnaround with Munetaka Murakami. I knew he was going to be a good player for them. 2-2 pitch, low and away. But I did not predict that he would be right there with Aaron Judge at the top of the MLB with home runs. I mean, him and Ohtani are very close, and he was definitely giving him pointers and the WBC and telling him what it's like to play here in America. But he definitely is, taking the reins there in Chicago. 3-2 pitch, popped up. Rivas is there, and that is 1 away. Nice catch there in foul territory by Leo Rivas. Down goes Mike Yastrzemski, and that is 1 away. Next up in the 8-hole, catcher Sean Murphy. And again, the White Sox are not going to be easy. Again, if we go into that series in the past, just assuming that we're going to go in there and win 2 out of 3 or sweep, it could be a rude awakening, especially they've been playing good ball this year. Much better than last year. And Munetaka Murakami is one of the big reasons, but the pitching staff is much better as well. Next up is Sean Murphy. First pitch in there for a strike, high and inside, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, no balls, or 1 ball and 1 strike, to Sean Murphy. One pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Murphy. Yeah, but again, they're not the same team as they were last year or the year before as being one of the bottom feeders of MLB, and again, eventually, bad teams end up, becoming average or good depending on who you pick up in the previous, summer or in free agency. So 1-2 pitch, fouled off, high and inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Murphy. I mean, there's a lot of threats. I mean, obviously we're in the American League, so the Yankees are the biggest threat, to make it to the World Series. And we are their biggest threat to, probably overtake that spot, even though our record isn't very good. Big swing and a miss. Big sweeper there by Wu. Down goes Sean Murphy, and that is 2 away. But as far as like good teams right now, Dodgers, Padres, Braves, just to name a few in the National League, and the Yankees are the top team. Tampa Bay Rays have a pretty good record, but will that sustain? We don't know, but again, it just kind of depends on where things land. Obviously, Dodgers are always going to be favored to go to the World Series as long as they have Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and obviously adding a few more pieces like Kyle Tucker to the squad. It definitely is their World Series to lose, for the Dodgers. And then the American League is always open every year. Yankees will always be one of the top teams, but, even though the Mariners haven't started great, we are the biggest threat to them, in my opinion. First pitch is high and away with the strike looking, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. But again, all of the really good teams have played much better than us, up to this point. But again, we've had poor play from some and injuries. And I think we've dealt with a little bit more, than the Dodgers, the Padres, the Braves, and the Yankees have had to deal with in their early, 37 games, 38 games to start the season. Pitch is low and away. Slider 86 miles an hour by Wu. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jarvis. 2-1 pitch, popped up and behind the T-Mobile bricks. 2 balls and 2 strikes to making his MLB debut, Jim Jarvis. Jarvis in the box. Brian Wu on the mound. Wu with a 1-hitter. Let's go. 2-2 pitch. Low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jim Jarvis. Three-two pitch, popped up and out of play. Paisley's in here now, missing Daddy, so she's going to watch the game with us. Top of the 5th inning, nobody on with 2 outs, 1-0 Seattle. Wu on the mound, Jim Jarvis making his MLB debut in the box, and Wu has been fucking electric. 3-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. And thankfully, he's electric. He's not a guy that typically has meltdowns, let alone 2 back-to-back. And again, since we can't trust Gilbert or Castillo right now, it's nice to have a third guy, hopefully that we can trust with Wu, Hancock, and Kirby. 3-2 pitch from Wu. Big swing and a miss. Or did he get a tip on it? Oh, looks like he just got a tip on it. I thought he was going to get the punch out there, but just a little piece. And foul tip there by Jarvis. He is still alive. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Seattle. 3-2 pitch. There we go. And that's strike 3. That's the fucking Wu I love. Let's go. Oh, absolutely. She gets a lot of pets, belly rubs, I love yous, and snuggles. The most important thing in my life, it's my soul dog. So, I'll do everything in my power to make sure that she has the best fucking life possible. Nice job there by Brian Wu. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 88 pitches, 57 strikes, and he's got his ERA down to 4.11. Nice job, Wu. Much better than giving up 7 runs and 6 runs to the Cardinals and the Royals. And again, putting us in a position to be able to win this game with a 1-hitter. Nice job by our guy, Brian fucking Wu. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and let's see if we can pour it on and add a few more runs to the scoreboard. Let's do it for Riz. He loves it. And nice job by Johnny Pereda so far with Brian Wu. Good chemistry so far. Leading off for the Mariners in the 7-hole, right fielder Connor Joe. Yo, Joe. Love that cartoon. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a run, catcher Johnny Pereda. And batting third in the 9-hole, third baseman, 1 for 1, Leo Rivas. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Gained 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 6 subs to go, do 24,000. Do we have 6 people out of the 196 in the room that can help us with that? I hope so. And we're at 86 likes, 14 to 100. One-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Connor Joe. 2-0 pitch, high and away, but gets the corner there for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike from Martin Perez to Connor Joe. Change up 80 miles an hour there by Perez. 2-1 pitch to Joe, low and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Connor Joe. Martin Perez on the mound, Connor Joe in the box. Let's go, Connor. Call is overturned from a 3-1 count now to a 2-2 count. ABS challenge won by the Braves. 2-2 pitch, check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 Seattle. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 3-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And down goes Joe on the changeup, and that is 1 away. Next up in the 8-hole, catcher Johnny Pereda. On deck is Leo Rivas. Well, even if Mooney was available, who the hell would want Mooney to come in after blowing so many games, you know? Give me fucking Hoppy or Bizzardo to close the game out since we don't have Brash or Spire. You know, that just makes sense. If you're going to have Bizzardo pitch early and not have him close out, you know, then put Hoppy in. You know, we got a hell of a lot more confidence in a Hoppy than what we do with Mooney lately. 0-1 pitch, high and away, or at least I do. 1 ball and 1 strike from Perez to Pereda. One pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Perez to Pereda. And hopefully Mooney gets better. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for a new closer next year. 2-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Johnny Pereda. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 1-0 Seattle. Two pitch. Pereda with a little blooper, and it goes in. Let's go. Johnny Pereda. Multi-hit day for Johnny. Let's go. Our 3rd string catcher is going 2 for 2. My boy, nice job there by Johnny Pareda. A little blooper to center. And now let's see if Leo Rivas can end up advancing him here. 1 for 1, Leo Rivas. Let's go. Let's see if Leo can go 2 for 2 like Johnny Pareda. And again, we didn't really get a whole lot of production in the 7, 8, 9 in the first 2 games. So this would be great if we could, add on a little bit more and make up for the first 2 games with no production in the bottom of the order. First pitch takes a strike looking with the curveball by Martin Perez, 77 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Throw to first, and he is safe. Oh, 1 pitch to Rivas. Little dribbler towards third. Could be a double play. Throw to first. No, throw to first. Fielder's choice there. And Rivas is safe at first with the no throw. Next up for the Mariners with home runs in Game 1 and Game 2, J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. See if he can get another 2-run blast 3 days in a row. That's not something that we typically see with Mariner players hitting back-to-back home runs in games. But again, JP has a very unique opportunity here to be able to hit a 2-run blast 3 games in a row. First pitch to JP, big moonshot swing. Big swing and a miss, change up 81 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Let him know, Vin. Bottom of the 5th inning, runner at first with 2 outs. Mariners up 1-0. Wu pitching a gem with a 1-hitter. And again, we need more run support. That's been kind of the issue. It's like when one thing ends up being good, the other thing kind of disappears. Finally Wu's doing good, but where are the runs? And obviously they don't have anything. They only have a 1-hitter right now, but we know how things can go late in games lately. 1-1 pitch, little dribbler. Throw to first, and JP is out, and that is out number 3. Let's go to the top of the 6th inning and see who is up next here for the Braves. And again, obviously when the starters go out, this game is going to reset. And again, whoever's bullpen is better. Ours is pretty beat up with injuries and poor play. Hopefully we can find a way to get the job done. Next up for the Braves, 0 for 2 with a K, DHing, leading off, Drake Baldwin. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, second baseman extraordinaire, Ozzie Albies. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, first baseman, stud, Matt Olson. Right hands up, let's go M's. And Wu is already at 88 pitches, so I'm not really sure if you're going to bring him back out for another inning, or maybe they'll try to get like one more out with him before they replace him. But I don't know if they would let him go past 100 pitches. But, he does have a 1-hitter, at this point. So maybe they'll let him go out there and pitch at least for one more batter and then kind of see how he does. You're at 88, so, you can, still end up being under 100, with 1 or 2 batters. Potentially 3 if you can get a quick pop-up or a ground out, so. AR in the building, what's good? 6 subs away from 24,000. And we got 2 more subs. Now we're only 4 subs away. Let's go, we're getting close. 4 subs away with 215 people in the room. Do we got 4 subs out of the 215? And we're at 98 likes, 2 more to get to 100. We're getting close on both. All right, they got Wu still out there, which is the right call. Especially with him pitching with a 1-hitter. I'm really excited to see this version of Wu. First pitch in there for a strike. Sweeper, 80 miles an hour, high and away, 0-1 count. And they got Josh Simpson in the pen as well as Hoppy. 0-1 pitch, foul back to the T-Mobile bricks. No balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Baldwin. And obviously, if Simpson gets in, it'll be his MLB debut from the Tacoma Rainiers, a lefty. And then Hoppy is probably the most reliable guy that we got in the pen right now besides Edward Bizzardo. But Bizzardo won't be pitching today, more than likely. 0-2 pitch, popped up into left field and out of play with a slider. 87 miles an hour there by Brian Wu, who's been fucking great today. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners. And again, we just need a couple more innings of good Mariner baseball, and we can end up giving the Braves their first series loss of the year, believe it or not. 0-2 pitch. Back to the T-Mobile bricks again. No balls and 2 strikes to Drake Baldwin. And then we'll have the day off tomorrow. I'll spend time with the pup. And then we'll start a 3-game set on the road against the White Sox starting Friday. And that will not be easy. And hopefully we'll have Cal behind the plate at that point as well. And Brandon Donovan should be back by then also. And Robles is getting close too. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And a big punch out for Wu. Feels like he's getting stronger as the game is going on. Riz loves it. Nice job there by Brian Wu. That was electric. Down goes Baldwin on that changeup, and that is 1 away. Next up is Ozzie Albies. Previous 2 starts, he only had 3 Ks. Today, he's got 8. Let's go. Wu is back. First pitch popped up by Ozzie Albies. I love this. Rivas is there. And that is 2 away. Here we go. Feels like we have all the momentum, but again, we know how things can change with a bullpen pitcher shitting the bed in a half inning. But so far, so good for our Seattle Mariners. Down goes Ozzie Albies, and that is 2 away. Next up, the player that you have to worry about the most on this team, 3-hole hitter, first baseman Matt Olson. First pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch from Wu to Olson. Takes a strike right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wu to Olson. Top of the 6th inning, nobody on with 2 outs. 1-0 Seattle. Try to stop. Let's go M's. Got to get this out. 1-1 pitch from Wu to Olson. Popped up and behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Matt Olson. Come on, Wu. Finish it off here. He's just approaching 100 pitches, and this has been an amazing start here for Brian Wu with 8 Ks. Way to rebound after having a terrible 7-run, 3-inning start against the Cardinals and giving up 6 against the Royals. 13 runs combined, and he is electric today. 1-2 pitch to Olson. Got him! Let's go! That's strike 3, baby! $9K game for Brian Wu. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's look at Wu's final line. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks, 98 pitches, 66 strikes. He's got his ERA finally down close to 4.02. Way to be, Brian Wu, putting us in a position to potentially win the series, but it's not over yet. Now let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning to see if we can end up getting another run on the board. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2, DHing big dumper Cal Raleigh. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman, Nails, Josh Naylor. Tridents up, let's go M's. All right, we're 2 subs away from 24,000. We're almost there. 2 more subs since the last commercial break. Do we have 2 subs out of 209 people watching in the United States and all across the globe? I sure as hell hope so. All right, we're at 106 likes, 94 to 200. we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. 1-0 Mariners. Brian Wu with a one-hitter. And that's exactly what we will, look forward to and hope for when Brian Wu comes to the mound. Great job responding after 2 bad starts. Martin Perez still on the mound here for the Braves. First pitch, high and away to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, check swing. And did he go around? Yes, he did. Four-seam fastball, 89 miles an hour there by Martin Perez. 1 ball and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Yeah, Wu is done. He's at 98 pitches. They're not going to bring him back out. Pitch fouled off towards first base. Four-seam fastball, 90 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Seattle. But the thing is, with the Royals, it's like, like I mentioned in the broadcast in the last few days, it's like when we play the Royals, it's like playing the A's and the Angels. I feel like the fan base is a little overconfident, thinking that we're going to sweep or win 2 out of 3. And sometimes we get swept and only win 1 game. So, sometimes when you play down to the competition, things don't go the Mariners' way. And usually when we play the Royals, the A's and the Angels, it's a lot harder than expected. But when we play like the Astros, the Rangers and the Yankees, we bring our A game. We may not win every game in the series, but just like in this particular series, we're playing one of the best teams in baseball, and we've been neck to neck with this team. We haven't been blown out, so that's kind of the MO. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, down goes Cal, and that is 1 away. Next up in the 3-hole, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's bring a little electricity to the box here for J-Rod. We could definitely use one of these right now. Trident's up. First pitch to Julio, low and away with a curveball, 78 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away, changeup, 80 miles an hour, 2 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. And remember, we don't have Matt Brash, our number 1 in the pen, or Gabe Spire, our number 3 or number 4. So it's going to have to be, more than likely some of the others. But Hoppy has been good. Bizzardo has been good, even though he probably won't pitch. And we'll see if we have Josh Simpson make his MLB debut from the Tacoma Rainiers. We'll see how it goes. And I don't think we'll be seeing Mooney today either. 3-1 pitch. Popped up. Deep center field. Back. Gone! You ask for a home run, you get a home run. Let's go. Julio Rodriguez. You flash the photo and say, hey, it'd be great if we get one of these. And look at Julio. He says, I'm going to do it for the NWSF. 2-0 Mariners. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. That's what I'm talking about, baby. What timing? Let's get it. Let's go, baby. Big time home run. That's what I'm talking about, Julio. There we go. Let's get it, baby. And that's exactly what we needed. We need to continue to keep doing this. Naylor pops it up. And Olsen comes in as 4 Braves try to end up getting that pop-up. And Julio crushes that one right down the middle. And he knew it as soon as he hit that ball, showing that emotion before the bat flip. Down goes Josh Naylor, popping up there to Olsen. Next up is Randy Arozarena with 2 outs. But again, I'm still not confident with a 2-run lead. Again, I want us to try to get to 5 if possible. Because again, we know how things have gone with our bullpen and our closer this year. Sometimes really good and sometimes really bad. And it looks like Martin Perez is done. And And again, I'm glad we ended up getting a big home run on him before he exited. That's awesome. Let's look at Martin Perez's final line. 5.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, 84 pitches, 54 strikes, 2.38 ERA. But we get Julio with a big solo dinger to give us another 1 run on the scoreboard. And now it's 2-0 Seattle. I love it. Way to bring the electricity, Julio Rodriguez. We love it, baby. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. There we go. We hit 24,000. Let's go, baby. All right, we're at 115 likes, 85 to 200, and we just hit 24,000 subs on the channel. Thank you to all the people that that have subbed in the United States and beyond across the globe. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And obviously the next goal will be 25,000 subs. But 100 subs away from now 24,100. First pitch, low and away to Randy Arozarena, there by Kinley, 1-0 count. Little dribbler by Randy, and it ends up going past the infield, and a nice single there by Randy Arozarena. I love it. There we go. Next up is Cole Young. First pitch, slider in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field. There we go. Cole Clutch Young strikes again. Go, Randy, go. And Randy goes to third, and a stand-up double by Cole Clutch Young. Let's go. Randy getting the job done. Cole Young getting the job done. Tyler Kinley having a fucking meltdown. And now we're approaching potentially 3 or 4-0 for Seattle. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. That's what I'm talking about. Next up is Connor Joe. Yo, Joe. G.I. Joe, the real American hero, one of the best cartoons in the 80s with the Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you know, you know. First pitch is high and away. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. There by Tyler Kinley, 1-0 count. And again, all you need is just a mini meltdown, by the starter or, one of the bullpen guys or multiple guys. And again, things can open up. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Connor Joe. And again, if we can find a way to win this game, we would be able to give the Braves their first season series loss, which is insane to say, with 37 games in, and this is game 38. That's how good the Braves have been this year. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. But it shows, we're going to play up to the competition, like when we play the Astros and the Rangers and the Yankees and the Braves. And sometimes we play down to the competition, Royals, Athletics, Angels. And, sometimes, we think we're going to do good in one series and we get our ass kicked. And then we think we're going to do bad in another. And then we end up, doing this. But, I actually felt that we had a much better chance playing up to the Braves rather than how we played against the Royals. But, there's just certain teams that have our number. 2-1 pitch, low and at the knees with the slider. 3 balls and 1 strike to Connor Joe. Oh, He-Man, Voltron, those were pretty good too. 3-1 pitch, little dribbler, throw to first, and that is out number 3. Yeah, but I don't think Voltron and He-Man were better than G.I. Joe, Transformers, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you look at the run that all those 3 cartoons had for the longevity, but Voltron and He-Man were decent. I'll give you that. And then obviously going into the 90s, we had Batman, the animated series, and then X-Men. I feel that those are on par with G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Ninja Turtles, if you grew up in the 80s or the 90s like myself. Nice job there by Seattle and getting another home run there by Julio Rodriguez. And again, now we have a 2-0 lead, but I'm still not satisfied. Let's see who's up next here for the Braves in the top of the 7th. So far, so good for Seattle. Trident's up. Next up for the Braves in the top of the 7th, 0 for 2 with a K, left fielder Michael Harris II. Batting second in the 5-hole, center fielder 1 for 2 with a K, Mauricio Dubon. And batting third in the 6-hole, third baseman 0 for 2 with a K, Austin Riley. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. We just hit 24,000 subs on the channel. See if we can get a few more here today. Gained another 2. So we've gained 12 subs today already. Now we only need 98 more subs to get to 24,100. Shout out to the 12 new subs we've acquired today. We're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And let's see where we're at on the likes as we try to get to 150 and 200 before the game is over. We're at 120 on the likes, 80 more to 200. One hitter for Brian Wu Electric, and they're going to bring in Cooper Criswell. And hopefully Cooper, I wouldn't say untrustworthy, more times than not, he'll be able to get some pop-ups and ground outs and whatnot, the former Boston Red Sox, and hopefully we get the good version of Cooper Criswell here. And a little slow dribbler, JP is there. Throw to Naylor, and that actually is a good throw, accuracy-wise to Naylor, and that is 1 away. But again, Cooper's not a guy that's going to get a lot of punch-outs, but he will be able to get you some pop-ups and ground-outs and gets a nice cheap ground out there on Michael Harris II. Nice job from the former Red Sox, now Mariner, and hopefully they'll have a few more photos in the Mariner uniform that I can actually implement. Next up is Mauricio Dubon. On deck is Austin Riley. First pitch in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Oh, looks like I found a new one. Okay, here we go. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Mauricio Dubon. And I finally got a Cooper Criswell photo in a Mariner uniform. Looks like they just had one taken a few days ago. 1-2 pitch to Dubon. Low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cooper Criswell. Let's add this one to the file. 2-2 pitch, popped up into right field. Connor Joe is there, and that is 2 away. Yo, Joe. Here we go. We got the nice Cooper Criswell photo in a Mariner uniform. I'd rather use that than anything from his former team. But again, sometimes, it takes a minute to be able to get some newer photos, especially for someone that doesn't play often. Nice job here by Cooper Criswell. I like it. He's actually been one of the more reliable guys, in the pen. Next up is Austin Riley. Oh, 1 pitch from Criswell to Riley, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning, 2-0 Mariners. But again, if we end up winning this series, we have to make sure that we get up for the White Sox, because if we end up, getting the uppercut in that first game, we could get swept by the White Sox. They're not the same team as last year or the year before. So, as long as we have the mentality like we're playing the Braves, like when we go on the road to the White Sox, not having the mentality like when we play the Angels, A's, or Royals, we'll be just fine. 1-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. Cutter 85 miles an hour by Cooper Criswell. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs, 2-0 Mariners. And again, we have a 7-hit game. And again, we have held the Braves, one of the best teams in baseball, to a 1-hitter so far. 1-2 pitch. And we're going to challenge that, Pareda, to see if that was strike 3. ABS challenge here. And that is outside. We lose the challenge. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Austin Riley. Two-two pitch. Low and away. Sinker 92 miles an hour on pitch 5. Cutter 87 miles an hour on pitch 6. Low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Criswell to Riley. Come on, Cooper. Finish strong. 3-2 pitch. There we go. That's the big strikeout. Man, we are killing it. Nice job. Cooper Criswell starting to, give us a little bit of hope that maybe we actually have someone else that can be reliable in the pen with Edward Bizzardo and Alex Hoppe. Nice job, Cooper Criswell. Way to be electric with Brian Wu, and now we still have a 1-hitter between Wu and Cooper Criswell. Let's go. Everything looking good so far, but it's not over yet. Let's see if we can add on another run for some insurance. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Mariners, a surprising 2-for-2 day for third-string catcher Johnny Pareda. Can he go 3-for-3? Let's go, Johnny. Batting second in the 9-hole, third baseman 1-for-2, Leo Rivas. And batting third 0-for-2 with a base on ball, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Trident's up, let's go M's. Again, 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 14 today so far. 96 subs to 24,100. Just hit 24,000 moments ago. Appreciate you. Shout out to all the people watching in the United States and all across the world. $124 likes, 76 to 200. Yeah, well, plus you're not going to have a pitcher playing 4 fucking decades. Started off with the Mets, in 68, and then went to the California Angels in the 70s, and then obviously the Houston Astros in the 80s, and then the 90s with the Rangers. So, to go in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, and never to have Tommy John or, I don't know, maybe Nolan Ryan was an alien because, again, we haven't really seen anybody do what he did in that time period. It was crazy. First pitch from Fuentes to Canzone, and Canzone is getting a chance to pinch hit here, and we got Fuentes coming in, and we'll see what he does. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike right down the middle to our guy Dominic Canzone. Let's go, Dom. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Italian Stallion. Big swing and a miss there by Dom. One-two pitch, popped up and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Fuentes. 1-2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. 1-2 pitch. Inside at the knees, 2-2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Bottom of the 7th inning, 2-0 Mariners. Popped up and out of play. 2-2 strikes from Fuentes to Canzone. Two-two pitch, popped up and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 2-2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 2-0 Seattle. Two-two pitch, high and away. Good patience there by Dominic Canzone. Count is full. 3-2 strikes from Fuentes to Canzone. And Dom pops it up into shallow left field. Harris is there, and that is one away. Edward Bizzardo warming up. First pitch to Rivas, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch. In there for a strike looking. One-one pitch, fouled off, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour by Didier Fuentes. One-two pitch, low and on the line, inside. Challenge here by Sean Murphy. And that ends up being a strike, and that is strike 3. Down goes Leo Rivas from Didier Fuentes. Next up for Fuentes, J.P. Crawford. First pitch in there to J.P. inside, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch from Fuentes, low and away. Four-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour on back-to-back pitches. 2 no strikes from Didier Fuentes to J.P. Crawford. Two-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 98 mile an hour four-seam fastball getting away from Fuentes there. 3 no strikes to J.P. Crawford. Three-0 pitch, takes a strike right down the middle, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour from Didier Fuentes. 3 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 2-0 Mariners. 3-1 pitch and a walk to J.P. Crawford, low and away. JP Crawford to first. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. First pitch, big swing and a miss by big dumper Cal Raleigh right down the middle. Four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour with some high heat by Fuentes. 0-1 count. Come on, Cal. Big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Cal Raleigh. The pup. She says, Dad. O2 pitch. Popped up and foul behind the plate there by the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Runner at first, JP Crawford with the walk. Bottom of the 7th with 2 outs. Mariners with a 2-0 lead. Tried ends up. Let's go, M's. O2 pitch from Fuentes. High and away. Good patience there by Cal. Not swinging on that garbage outside. Four-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour by Didier Fuentes. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first, JP Crawford with 2 outs. Come on, Cal. One-two pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Two-two pitch, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Pitch fouled off. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Julio Rodriguez on deck. Let's go, Cal. And we still got a 1-hitter on the Atlanta Braves. It's wild. But it shows the talent that we have. 3-2 pitch. And that is strike 3 on the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And that is out number 3. All right, let's go to the top of the 8th inning, and I'm curious to see who we're going to have come in the 8th and the 9th, but hopefully we don't have meltdowns like we did with Mooney last night. And again, this would be the first loss in a series for the Braves all year if we're able to play well here in the last 2 innings. Tried ends up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, but again, they're not having him, catch. They're just having him DH, so they're kind of easing him in slowly. So I don't assume that Cal will really do a whole lot. I figured he'd go 0 for 4, in the first couple games at DH, and then we'll see in the White Sox series if they still have him DHing or if they actually have him, catch a game and to see if his body can handle, obviously, he got overworked last season. And we were lucky that he didn't have an injury last year. He was on fire with the 60 home runs, but a lot of wear and tear on that body, in the hardest position in baseball with catcher. So, again, he won't be hitting 60 this year, but hopefully still somewhere between 28 and 35 is what he's pacing for. All right, let's go to the top of the 8th and see who's up next here for the Braves, and hopefully we can keep shutting them down. Next up, 0 for 2 in the 7-hole, right fielder Mike Yastrzemski. Batting second in the 8-hole, catcher 0 for 2 with a K, Sean Murphy. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, shortstop in the 9-hole, making his MLB debut, Jim Jarvis. Tried ends up. Let's go, M's. And Edward Bizardo is coming in. So I like that. It's our best guy in the pen besides Alex Hoppe. And he was our best closer or a best reliever in the bullpen last year with obviously him and Brash. hopefully this will be the good Edward Bizardo. Every once in a blue moon, he'll give up a run, but hopefully he'll be clean here. We got a one-hitter between Wu and Criswell, and let's see if Edward Bizardo can keep the dominance going. Bizardo, Cooper Criswell, and Brian Wu wheeling and dealing, and let's see if Bizardo can get the job done. First pitch to Yastrzemski, low and away, sinker, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Yeah, but again, when you end up missing, 3-4 games and, you're not even catching, you're going to do much better if you're catching and hitting rather than just, DHing. It's like when Dominic Canzone plays right field, he does better than just him DHing. So, I think that has something to do with it as well. Obviously he's probably still hurt and he's battling through it, but, I think he'll get better, obviously as the season progresses. At least we have to hope so. 2-0 pitch fouled off towards first base by Mike Yastrzemski. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 8th inning, 2-0 Mariners. 2-1 pitch. In there for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Yastrzemski. Let's go, baby. Finish strong, Mariners. 2-2 pitch. Pop behind the plate to the Muckleshoot and T-Mobile brick signs. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Yastrzemski. Two-two pitch. Low and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Yastrzemski. Come on, Bizardo. Finish strong. 3-2 pitch. And a line drive to Julio. And Julio can't make the play. And Bizardo giving up a hit on his first batter. That is not ideal. Come on, Bizardo. And obviously, if Julio would have fully committed and dove and missed, that would have probably been a triple. So, Yastrzemski with a single to center. And Johnny Paredes called a pretty good game so far, obviously with Wu and Cooper Criswell, but hopefully Bizardo and him can be on the same page here late. Next up is Sean Murphy. First pitch popped up and out of play. 0-1 count. You need a strikeout and a double play or a double play and a strikeout. Come on, Bizardo. Top of the 8th inning, 2-0 Seattle. Oh, 1 pitch. And another base hit. Jesus Christ, Bizardo. Should have brought in Alex Hoppe. Fuck, man. It's like every time, we end up playing good, something fucking goes wrong. Now we got runners at first and third. And again, if they're going to put up a run, we have to make sure it's only 1, not 2. Come on, Bizardo. Wu is electric. Cooper Criswell ends up doing a great job. And then you come in and shit the bed. Come on. Yaz to third. Murphy at first. Runners at first and third with no outs. Come on. We already blew yesterday's game with Mooney. We can't do it again. Now Dominic Smith pitch hitting for Jarvis. In there for a strike. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Smith. Come on, Bizardo. Throw to first. And Mateo is safe. Pinch running there at first. Top of the 8th inning. Runners on the corners at first and third and no outs. 2-0 Mariners. 0-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base and foul. Come on, we got to fight through this. And if you're going to give up a run, we got to give up only one, but hopefully none if possible. But kind of tough when you got runners at first and third and no outs unless we get a double play and a strikeout, or a strikeout and a double play. Hopefully we get the strikeout here and double play on the next batter if possible. 0-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field and foul. Come on, Bizzardo. Top of the 8th inning, runners on the corners at first and third with no outs. We had a one hitter before Bizzardo came in and gave back-to-back hits up. So now we're at 3. 0-2 pitch to Dom Smith. Hard hit ball. Deep right field. Julio is at the warning track and he caught it. Runner tags up from third and scores easily. 2-1 Seattle. Sac fly there by Dom Smith. At least it wasn't a 3-run bomb. And it's just never things can go our way from beginning to end. There's always someone that has to fuck things up. But hopefully we'll be able to still win this. And now Woodworth out having a conversation with Bizzardo. Yeah, thankfully that wasn't a 3-run bomb, because realistically, if it was, you know, the chances of us winning this game probably would have gone down pretty dramatically. Not to say that we wouldn't be able to put up anything in the 8th or the 9th, but, you know, we know how this story has gone before when we've had a lead or a tie game and, you know, have someone in the bullpen or the closer lose it. Next up is Drake Baldwin. Runner at first with 1 out. And obviously best case scenario here, we get Baldwin with a slow dribbler up the middle and we can get a double play and still hang on to a 1-run lead. Now we're challenging. Let's see if we actually end up getting this tag at first base. If we can get Mateo out here for 2 outs, this would be huge. I mean, normally the Mariners are the, you know, the team that has a player that, you know, falls asleep at first base or doesn't get back in time, but let's see. He looks out. Ball gets into the glove, toe tap on the bag, and the tag as well. I think he's out. This is a good challenge here. I'm not sure if they are going to agree, but, you know, based on watching this replay, he looks out. Looks out. The foot is up before it goes and hits the bag. But again, we've won these kind of challenges. We also have lost challenges like this. But based on visual replay, he looks out. Let's see if we get the call. We have a replay going on right now, but, you know, Naylor's foot is on the bag. And, you know, not only that, you know, it looks like he tags him before the foot actually goes down at first. A very nonchalant kind of run back to first base, you know, and more times than not, you know, guys end up being safe. But, you know, there has been quite a few players falling asleep lately. Long review here. And they have to make sure they get this call correct. You know, that's what the ABS is all about. And umps end up having, you know, the microphone, you know, in the ear and, you know, communicating with the people, obviously, you know, in the... Oh, baby, let's go. He's out, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Huge. And again, if we, even if we win this game 2-1, we don't care. We just want to win. Great job there. Next up, obviously still in the box here, is Drake Baldwin, and that is 2 away. Huge. And again, we've had a lot of plays like that have gone against us. And a little slow dribbler up the middle, and Baldwin ends up getting a hit. And who knows, that might have ended up, bringing that runner pretty close to coming home. But Edward Bizardo shitting the bed here, giving up 3 hits when we had a 1-hitter. And go figure, Wu finally pitches well. Criswell comes in, he's electric. And then you got our supposed best guy in the pen, and he can't get the job done. But hopefully the one run that he gave up will be the only run. But he is not looking good here. But we have to just dig deep and find a way. Next up is Ozzie Albies. On deck will be Olsen. We can't get to Olsen. We're going to have to hopefully deal with him in the 9th. First pitch to Albies, in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Come on, Bizardo. Stop shitting the bed. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. That was a nice sweeper there by Bizardo. No balls and 2 strikes to Ozzie Albies. Back-to-back sweepers there, and he got Olsen on deck. We'll wait for him, hopefully, in the 9th. 0-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base and foul. Top of the 8th inning, runner at first. Baldwin with 2 outs. Mariners up 2-1. Had a 1-hitter going into this inning between Wu and Criswell. Bizardo shitting the bed and giving up 3 hits and a run. But hopefully we still will have a 2-1 lead here. 0-2 pitch from Bizardo. Popped up. Here we go. And this will stay in play. No, out of play. Damn it. Count still remains. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first. Baldwin with 2 outs. Top of the 8th inning. 2-0 or 2-1, Seattle. Come on, Bizardo. Finish. 0-2 pitch. Low and away. Sweeper missing. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ozzie Albies. Come on, Bizardo. 1-2 pitch with 2 outs. Big swing and a miss. Albies is arguing that he got a piece. All right, I guess that's out number 3. It looked like it was pretty close that he might have gotten, a little bit of it, but ump says no. And we're going to go now to the bottom of the 8th inning, and let's see if we can get that run back that Bizardo gave up. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a run, RBI and a K, and a big solo dinger there in the 6th inning. Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Trident's up. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K. First baseman, let's go 1 for 4, Josh Naylor. And batting third in the 5-hole, left fielder, 1 for 3, Randy Orosarena. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. $96 subs away from 24,100. Going to the bottom of the 8th, 2-1 Seattle. All right, we're at 135 likes, 65 to 100. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And I don't know if it'll be Fuentes out there again. I mean, he already had 26 pitches, so we assume it's going to be someone else. They went with Perez, Kinley, Fuentes, and I assume that they're going to bring in someone else here. But terrible inning overall for Edward Bizardo, but hopefully we'll be able to make up for it here. I mean, I would go with Hoppy. That would be the most logical choice. Hoppy has looked good, and again, we don't have Gabe Sparks, we don't have Matt Brash, and again, if you're going to, close the game out, it would have to be either Hoppy or Ferrer, that you would have to assume that's what it's going to be. So, and they have Fuentes still out there. Interesting. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. So they still have Didier Fuentes out there with Julio Rodriguez in the box. 1-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. But based on who we have left, I assume that's where we're going to go. We'll go Ferrer, and then maybe Hoppy. And if we get yesterday's Ferrer, we'll be just fine. And Hoppy has usually been pretty fucking good. 1-2 pitch, and that hits the corner. And Julio is challenging. And he loses the challenge, and that is strike 3. Down goes Julio, and that is 1 away. Next up for the Mariners in the 4-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. All right, that Ferrer in the bullpen warming up. Reflect in the building. How are you? Long time no see. And we go from 0 to 50 just like that. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. I know you've been busy, with family and doing other things. Great to have you in the room, and thank you so much for the support. And Naylor with a line drive right up the middle and making up a little bit for the meltdown by Edward Bizardo. Nice job there by Josh Naylor, and a nice job there by our regular Reflect. Appreciate you. Well, now we go from 0 to 50. Thank you so much. I had a birthday a few days ago, and again, we've missed you, and hopefully you'll be able to come through more times than not when you have the time. Bottom of the 8th, 2-1 Seattle. Nice job there by Josh Naylor. Next up is Randy Arozarena. First pitch, 4-seam fastball for a ball. 1-0 count from Fuentes. One-0 pitch. Popped up into right field and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. Let's go to Randy land, baby. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Randy. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Fuentes to Arozarena. Didier Fuentes on the mound. Randy Arozarena in the box. Lazy swing there by Randy, drops the bat, and Naylor ends up getting to second, safe. Let's get it. Appreciate that, HR. Gutters, yeah. Yeah, for us here, we've been in the, same, place for, 40 plus years. So anytime you get 30, 40 years on a house, things start to kind of break down. So, and Reflect with another 50. Thank you so much, ma'am. And just like that, after waiting almost 2.5 hours at a 0, Reflect comes through with a 50 and another 50. And we had our goal with one individual, and let's see if we can get anybody else to hop on the Dono train. Thank you so much. Even though we didn't get a win on the birthday itself, it was one of the best birthdays I've had in a long time. Got a chance to, see my best friend, and being able to spend time with the pup and hanging out with you guys. Again, I don't take days off really. And, whether it's my birthday or Thanksgiving or Christmas, we'll still end up working more times than not. First pitch to Cole Young, takes a strike looking high and away. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away with a splitter, 90 miles an hour by Fuentes. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Clutch Young. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Fuentes to Young. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Reflect is the MVP today. Appreciate you. 2-1 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field. Fading foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Fuentes de Young. I mean, it would have been one of the best birthdays if we were still able to get that victory against the Royals, but we know how that series went. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off towards third base. Count still remains 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second, Josh Naylor with 2 outs. Mariners hanging on to a 1-run lead after Bizzardo had a little bit of a mini meltdown. We had a 1-hitter combined with Wu and Criswell, and then Bizzardo gave up 3 hits and a run. Not ideal. 2-2 pitch. Low and away. Good eye there by Cole. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Cole Young. Three-two pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field. Naylor is going to score. Let's go. Let's go. Cole, clutch, Young coming up in the clutch again. Let's go. 3-1 Mariners, and that might be enough to win the game now. Let's go. Number 20 leading the team, and Cole Young with 2 really hard hit balls. And again, Cole sometimes will go 0 for 4 or 0 for 8, but typically does not go 0 for 12, and coming up big here today. And the clutch Cole Young might be the hero, making up for Edward Bizzardo's mini meltdown. Nice job. Next up is Connor Joe. Yo, Joe. First pitch to Joe, big swing and a miss, low and away, 0-1 count. And I was really hoping that we would get something big to make up, for Bizzardo's meltdown, to get that run back. And thankfully, Cole Young was the guy to do it. He is so clutch. Love him. And obviously, if the Braves really wanted to win the series, why did they go back to Fuentes? I think he had 26 pitches already in the previous, and now he's at 44. So obviously, it's been kind of known that their bullpen has been pretty good, but why would you have a guy, go 40 plus pitches and back-to-back innings? Doesn't really make any sense, but that's what they decided to do, and that might be the reason they lose. So, you live and you learn, right? If you go 2 innings with a guy, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Pitch fouled off there by Connor Joe, high and inside, and I'm glad they kept him in there because obviously that might be the difference between us winning the series or not. And the Braves haven't lost a series all year, besides maybe here. And Joe flies out into right field, and that is out number 3. But again, we'll take it, right? Naylor and Cole Young, doing the business, baby. And just like that, we get our 2-run lead back. And now we go to the top of the 9th, and this will be interesting. Who are they going to bring out? It'll be Jose Ferrer, I assume, would be the guy that's coming out, and because they probably don't trust Hoppy yet because he's a AAA guy. But I think either one. I think Hoppy is more trustworthy than Ferrer, but Ferrer was good in his last opportunity, and let's see what happens here. As long as it's not Andres Munoz, we're going to win the game. That's a crazy thing to say, but that's just the reality. I mean, when you got Munoz with an ERA of 6 and, Castillo with an ERA, above 6 as well, not ideal. But let's see who's up next here for the Braves. 0 for 2 with a base on ball and 2 Ks. First baseman Matt Olson. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K. Left fielder Michael Harris the second. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a K. Center fielder Mauricio Dubon. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And I assume that they'll bring in Ferrer since Olsen is a lefty. Yeah, but again, we will buckle up with Jose Ferrer. But again, Edward Bizzardo was supposed to be our most trustworthy pitcher, and he shit the bed with 3 hits. So, you never know. Zini Panini in the building. $20 holla. I've missed you. How are you? Appreciate you. Had a birthday a few days ago, and we've definitely missed you. Once we get back into football season, I imagine we'll be spending a little bit more time on the channel together. But I appreciate you coming through and showing some love. I know you've been reading a lot of books lately. I've seen a few of your posts. They're on Instagram and whatnot. And again, it's always nice to be able to find someone that is intellectual, that loves to read. Top of the ninth, 3-1 Mariners. We got 2 MVPs in the house, Zini Panini, and obviously our boy Reflect coming in. And we were at 0, and just like that, now we're at 120 on the Dono train. First pitch, Jose Ferrer, Olsen back into deep left field, but Randy is there on the warning track, and that is 1 away. Here we go. Looks like we're going to get the good Ferrer, at least I hope. Nice job there by Randy getting Olsen out. Now, if Olsen would have homered in 3 straight games, we would have been in trouble. But thankfully, that one went just all the way to the warning track, but not beyond. But it's not over yet. Next up is Michael Harris the second, and then Mauricio Dubon. But I feel more, trust in Ferrer or even Hoppy than I do with Mooney. I don't think Mooney should be the closer until that grip gets better. And, you don't want your closer to have an ERA of fucking 6. And obviously Brash would be the most easy choice to replace Mooney with until he's okay, but he's hurt, so can't go that route. First pitch from Ferrer to Harris is a ball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, sinker in there down the middle for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Ferrer to Harris. One pitch, little dribbler up the middle. JP is there. An accurate throw for the most part to Naylor, a little low, and that is 2 away. And we are 1 out away from giving the Braves their first series loss of the season. We should have won it yesterday if Mooney didn't shit the bed, let's be honest. But this is big. Again, you end up getting swept by a team like the Royals that are kind of like the A's and the Angels that typically have our number. And then no one gave us a shot to even win a game as far as the media, and I thought we would actually, play well and win maybe 2 out of 3. And again, if we would have won without Mooney shitting the bed, we could have potentially had a sweep on one of the best teams in baseball. But, winning 2 out of 3 is damn good after getting swept by the Royals, let me tell you. 1-0 pitch to Dubon. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike from Ferrer to Dubon, and I think this is going to be a good Jose Ferrer outing here. Again, especially with Bizardo, normally trustworthy, didn't play well. Cooper Criswell and Brian Wu combined for a 1-hitter, and let's see if we can finish the job here. 1-1 pitch to Dubon. A little check swing. It goes back into the catcher, and Garver is in there catching instead of Pareda, and he says he's okay. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We're 1 strike away from victory. Let's go. Well, most of the throws by JP are high, and we're just thankful that Naylor's got, good range with his height and his length, but, at least they got there. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Dubon. But this would be a fantastic series win, and we got the day off tomorrow, and then we'll be on the road against the White Sox on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mauricio Dubon. Sweet Mariner hat that kid has on. Haven't seen that one before. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball into right field and fair. No foul. Ooh, close. And Dubon, the former Astro, has been kind of a thorn in our side, just like a lot of, Astro or former Astro players. And speaking on the Astros, I know Correa has a season-ending injury, so we won't have to worry about him when we play the Astros in the future. Still got to worry about Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez, but at least they won't have Correa to worry about. But hopefully he'll be okay. I don't wish injuries on anyone, even our biggest rival. We know the Chistros, have definitely a bad reputation. But even with that being said, I don't wish injuries on anyone. And hopefully he'll recover on a positive note. Top of the ninth, 3-1 Mariners. Jose Ferrer on the mound with a full count to Mauricio Dubon. And let's see if we can end up finishing this game. 3-2 pitch. And that is strike three. ABS challenge is coming out. Let's see here. Dubon is challenging. Well, let's see what we get here. And it's over, baby. He loses the challenge, and the Mariners win. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. And we get the good Jose Ferrer. And again, it's kind of crazy, right? Normally not as trustworthy as you would think as like an Edward Bizardo. But again, Bizardo ends up being the weak link, but we still get the job done. Let's go. Final score, Mariners 3, Braves 1. We win the series, give them their first series loss all year. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win, Mariners win, Mariners win. Fuck yeah. Let's go. And obviously it feels good, when we can end up getting wins against really good teams. And so again, you got to be able to control your emotions. You can't get too high and you can't get too low. You got to try to stay even keel as much as possible, especially with the team that's got injuries and a few guys that haven't played well. Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, Andres Munoz, injuries, obviously to Cal Raleigh and Brendan Donovan, as well as Victor Robles and a few others. But again, this one feels good, and again, we're going to go on a roller coaster ride. We're going to have peaks and valleys. When we swept the Astros, then what happened? We got swept out by the Padres. So we felt, on cloud nine, beating the Stros in 4 games, and then we get our ass kicked by the Padres 3 in a row, right? So you're going to go through these emotions. Now we get swept by the Royals. We feel a little down on ourselves, but then we come in and win 2 out of 3. And let's be honest, we should have won 3 out of 3. If Mooney didn't blow the game yesterday, we would have swept the Braves. So, and that's not being biased. That's just reality. Normally when we have a game, when we're up a run or tied, we expect to win. And, I'm feeling really, really good here. Julio Rodriguez getting interviewed here by Angie, who had the stroke a few months back. Prayers up to her. And let's go over the stats here real quick and go over the Braves here first, and then we will go to the Mariners. Let's go, baby. All right, Drake Baldwin, 1 for 4. Ozzie Albies, 0 for 3. Matt Olson, 0 for 3. Michael Harris, the second, 0 for 4. Mauricio Dubon, 1 for 4. Austin Riley, 0 for 3. Mike Yastrzemski, 1 for 3 with a run. Sean Murphy, 1 for 3. And Jim Jarvis making his MLB debut, 0 for 2. And for the starting pitcher, Martin Perez, 5.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, 84 pitches, 54 strikes, 2.38 ERA. And then now let's flip it over to the Mariners. All right, JP Crawford, 0 for 2. So no 2-run blast like he had in game 1 or game 2, but that's okay. Cal Raleigh, 0 for 4 in back-to-back games, coming back from his injury on the DH. Obviously is still not right, but hopefully he'll get better. And hopefully he'll catch against the White Sox on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Julio Rodriguez, one of the heroes, 1 for 4 with a home run and an RBI. And that was a huge play for us. Obviously, they're in the bottom of the 6th. Josh Naylor coming up clutch late in the game as well, 1 for 4 with a run. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 4. And after going 0 for 4 in back-to-back games, look at that. Cole Young, they don't call him clutch for nothing, 3 for 4 with a big RBI to give us that 2-1 to 3-1 lead. Way to be, Cole Young. Connor Joe, 0 for 4. Johnny Pareda, 2 for 2 with a run. He had a good game. And then Leo Rivas finishing it off with a 1 for 3 game. And obviously Brian Wu, after giving up 7 runs against the Cardinals, and we came back and won that game 11-9, and giving up 6 runs to the Royals, and then we ended up losing that game, which sucked, comes up with a gem. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks, 98 pitches with 66 strikes. Cooper Criswell coming in and doing a great job. Only got 1 K, 13 pitches, and 8 strikes. Got a couple easy outs after that. And who would have thought the guy that's usually most reliable in the pen ends up doing the worst? But that's, I guess, the Mariners, right? 1 inning pitch, 3 hits, 1 earned run, only 1 K, 21 pitches, 17 strikes. Bizardo ended up kind of shitting the bed, but Jose Ferrer comes in and pitches well there in the 9th, 1 inning pitched. got a K, 11 pitches and 7 strikes. And then the Mariners end up getting the dance and the victory. This one feels good. And again, so, we're going to be an emotional fan base, and we're going to have ups and we're going to have downs. But again, for every, time that we play down to the competition, always remember, when we play the Astros, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Braves, the Dodgers, the Padres, more times than not, we're going to play up to the competition. Now, does that mean that we're going to sweep them or, win 2 out of 3? No, sometimes we'll still get swept or only win 1, but like we did when we went on the road to the Padres. But, normally when we play these teams, we're going to bring our A game and try our, utmost best. And then sometimes when we play teams like the Royals and the Angels and the A's, where we kind of take them for granted, and another series coming up, the White Sox, we can't have that mentality. Like, oh, we're just going to win like we used to, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3. You got to remember this White Sox team, with Murakami and obviously the pitching staff, they're not a bad team this year. So again, we have to make sure that we bring our A game and not take the White Sox for granted, because if they win game 1, there is a chance that we could only win 1 game or none. So hopefully we bring our A game. But again, this one feels really, really good. Reflect with the 50, reflect with another 50 for the belated birthday. And Zini Panini in the building with the 20. We miss you, and I look forward to watching your Eagles later on in the football season. Appreciate the 3 of you stepping up. We were at 0 for over 2 hours, and with the generosity of our 2 OG fans of the channel, and then we hit 120. So, and not only that, we ended up getting the series victory over the Braves, which is awesome. So love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And again, I hope everyone ends up having a great rest of their Wednesday, as well as the great, rest of your Thursday. And then again, I'll be back on Friday after hanging with the pup, later today and tomorrow, and we'll be ready for the White Sox. And again, when you got guys like Olsen that are, up there with home runs, and then Judge and Murakami, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we don't give up too many home runs to the White Sox, but definitely looking forward to the challenge. And love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Final score, Seattle Mariners 3, Atlanta Braves 1, and we end up giving the Braves the first series loss of the season, which is crazy. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Tridents up, and I am out. Go Mariners.